What's up, people? It's another episode of TAYLOR MADE MACRENZIE Show. So, what I'm gonna talk about today, I'm gonna show you this clip. It's from the GOCC podcast. But the so-called black people in America are from the tribe of Judah, which are the Jews that are scattered all over the world. A Gentile is saying that in this video. People are waking up. Not everybody know this, but people are waking up. Check this video out.
Today's controversial
fair use. Today's controversial message, Elder Lawyer, that means we've been controversial for a long time.
Today's controversial message is they're not Jews. Everybody say they're not Jews.
Fair use.
I see a lot of debating going on the internet right now, especially on X. If you're active on there, that's where news breaks first. And you will find actually a lot of Christians arguing about the Jews in Jerusalem. And there's a fundamental flaw to this argument that's occurring. One group is trying to argue, hey, these Jews are bad. And another group is trying to argue, well, even though they're bad, they're still the Jews and we have to bless them. But I want to present something to you today, and I hope that you'll share this sermon with your friends, and that is that they're not Jews. Jews are from the tribe of Judah, and you can also include the tribe of Benjamin. If you study it out, you will see that Jews means Judah, okay? Jesus is the line of David, tribe of Judah, therefore Jesus is ethnically a Jew. But something occurred prior to the first century, and it was called the Maccabean Revolution or Revolt. And you know...
And this is fair use, folks, fair use.
This because you've been hearing my sermons, but if this is the first sermon you're hearing, there was a Maccabean Revolt. It's recorded in Josephus as well as other historians. It's very well known. And there was something called the Hasmonean dynasty that occurred as a result of the Maccabean Revolt. The Maccabean Revolt is why we have Hanukkah. It's because there was a miracle that occurred where the Lord kept the menorah in the temple lit while they were making new holy oil. And it was a miracle of God. Now, it's important to understand this part in history because the Hasmoneans forcefully converted the Edomites. The Edomites are the descendants of Esau. Esau married Canaanite women. The Edomites are well mixed with Canaanites. So that means that they are Canaanite blooded, even though...
Now check that out, Elder Lawyer. I know you haven't seen this yet, right?
I've seen parts of it, yes.
You
I
haven't seen
the whole
this,
thing.
right, Lawyer?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of it. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I did see this small portion here.
Yeah, so how many people out there was teaching that Esau was part Canaanite until we came with what? Who's Edom in the academy? Showing them going into Mount Seir in Genesis 36. And then tracing Esau's sons, Zepho and others, into Europe before they became Europeans. This information, brothers and sisters, wasn't out there at all. Not from theologians of Christianity, neither from any Israelites out there. You had some Israelites who knew he was Esau, but they lost the time between Esau and his children and what? And the time Esau would actually show up again during the Hasmonean dynasty. All of that middle history of where Esau went wasn't even researched. The Most High put a spirit on us to do so. We have tracked Esau from the beginning, even until our present time. And guess what? In this academy, folks, we're going into the history of all the 12 tribes because we're dealing with history and chronology, and we're going to put up each tribe and show you their pattern, where they went from the beginning of when we were cast off throughout history up into our present time in this academy. Now, check this out.
Their patriarch was a Shemite in the line of Shem and is the brother of Jacob. Edom is Canaanite blooded, okay? Arabic, Canaanite blooded, okay? All right, so as a result of the Edomites infiltrating Israel, they were forcefully converted. They wanted to possess Israel. And by the time of Jesus in the first century, King Herod is reigning in Jerusalem as the, quote, king of the Jews. Not really the king of the Jews, by the way. Jesus' cross said king of the Jews because Jesus was the actual king of the Jews, not Herod and not his descendants.
Oh, that's a mistake,
But the Herodian dynasty were Edomites appointed by Rome to rule over Jerusalem. And
let's get that again. Fair use.
Arabic, Canaanite blooded, okay? All right, so as a result of the Edomites infiltrating Israel, they were forcefully converted. They wanted to possess Israel. And by the time of Jesus in the first century, King Herod is reigning in Jerusalem as the, quote, king of the Jews. Not really the king of the Jews, by the way. Jesus' cross said king of the Jews because Jesus was the actual king of the Jews, not Herod and not his descendants. But the Herodian dynasty were Edomites appointed by Rome to rule over Jerusalem. And I'm presenting to you today that they said in the first century, Antigonus, who was the last Hasmonean king, Antigonus said that Herod was not a true Jew. He was a half Jew and an Idumean, an Edomite. So it's very important to understand that very simple, easy to explain part of Christian history, that Edomites were reigning in Jerusalem during Jesus' first coming. And here's what I'm presenting to you today. That Edomites are ruling in Jerusalem at the second coming.
Look at that. That man of sin must be revealed. Listen.
And that they are already in Jerusalem ruling now. And if that's true, it'll be evidenced by history and by scripture. And my hope is in this sermon that you and other Christians will come to understand that the people reigning in Jerusalem today are the same ones reigning during Jesus' first coming. They are the Edomites that say they are Jews and are not, but lie. On X, no one is discussing who the synagogue of Satan is from Revelation chapter 2 and 3. No one's discussing who this group is. Now, you'll notice that we're not allowed to talk about ethnicities anymore. Have you noticed that? You're not, especially if you're European, you're not allowed to talk about ethnicities. Do not talk. But the problem is, Jesus talks about a group that claims to be Jews and are not Jews, but lie. Say they're not Jews. What's not clear about that? Go to Revelation chapter 3, verse 9. My hope is that more Christians...
Do y'all see what's happening here, folks? Elder Lloyd, you see what's happening here?
Yes, sir.
It's one thing when the children of Israel teaches this. It's another thing when the Gentiles begin to teach true doctrine. Folks, that doctrine have come through the Israelites who have been awakened in the last days. And one thing about Esau, it tell you, the Greeks seeketh after wisdom, but Jacob seeketh a sign. He wouldn't have done this unless he did all the research, because I bet you if we talk to this guy, he was researching to disprove what he's teaching. I'll tell you right now that if you get a conversation with this guy, he'll tell you what led him down this journey was Israelites was teaching. He heard a lot of our teachings based on the history he's bringing forth. And he was trying to disprove it. Once Esau connected dots, forget it. He's not going back on it anymore because they deal with what? Knowledge. It says the Greeks seeketh after wisdom. That's what they do. Even if they, let me tell you, Esau will lose his life trying to find out information. Find out something that most people don't know. Why do you think they're all up under the waters playing around with stingrays and all this other stuff they be doing? And blacks are saying, Judah is saying, we're cool. Okay, we don't care to know how many breathing gills that's on a breathing gills that's on a great white shark. We could care less. But no, Esau go down there with the shark and count the gills and try to figure out how many lungs it has. That's Esau. Okay? So let me tell you, I'm going to let it play because this guy is teaching. Fair use.
Christians will start to wake up to this. Behold, I will cause those of the synagogue of Satan. That's what this series is. This is the Synagogue of Satan series. I will cause those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. So literally the sermon title is based on the words of Jesus. They're not Jews. Jesus said this. Jesus is a Jew, tribe of Judah, line of David, genuine Messiah, saying there's a group that isn't Jews. King Herod, during Jesus's time, is one of them, which is why Jesus said, watch out for the leaven of the Pharisees. And we're going to prove today that the Pharisees were infiltrated by the Edomites. And watch out for the Herodians, the leaven of Herod, the Herodians, because they're Edomites. It's an infiltration. What happens to bread? What is leaven? It's a bacteria that if you leave it on a windowsill, leaven will actually, the bacteria will get into the bread, and as a result, it'll rise, okay? So what it means is leaven is an infiltration of a group. Josephus proves, which we're going to read today, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but Josephus proves that Herod is an Edomite, okay? The Pharisees were infiltrated, the Sadducees were infiltrated, and only the Essenes, who gave us the Dead Sea Scrolls, were strictly and purely tribe of Judah Jews. Isn't that interesting? So Revelation chapter 3, verse 9, behold, I will cause those of the synagogue of Satan who say that they are Jews and are not, but lie. I will make them come and bow down at your feet and make them know that I have loved you. Now they're going to hate that because Edomites are very arrogant. If you listen to Talmudic Judaism today, it's very arrogant.
Fair use.
Very prideful.
Hit that like button, folks.
They think Jesus is boiling in excrement in hell. That's very arrogant, very prideful, okay? But here's the point I want to make for Christian Zionists that maybe you got sent this sermon by somebody who wants to help you understand, okay? You must define who Revelation chapter 3, verse 9 is. Because I don't see any Christian Zionists talking about this passage at all. They're just talking about, you got to support the Jews. They're God's chosen people. Ted Cruz went so far, Senator Cruz went so far as to say, listen, that if you say Christ is king, that's an anti-Semitic statement now. Is that crazy? He said it. That's an anti-Semitic statement now. How deceived do you have to be to say that a statement, Christ is king, is now anti-Semitic? That is a man who has received millions of dollars from AIPAC and cannot be trusted. I'm actually thankful that the mask is off the Zionists.
Fair use.
It's actually good, right? It's actually good to identify this synagogue that is serving the enemy. I don't see any Christian Zionists talking about this passage ever. If the synagogue of Satan, here's my question. If there's some small, obscure, inconsequential group, why are they invoked by Jesus speaking to the end times churches? Are you listening? Why are they presented to us right at the beginning of the book of Revelation so that we get acquainted with them right away? He brings them up twice in the first few chapters. And both times he says they say they're Jews and they're not, that they're actually a synagogue of Satan. Why are they invoked by Jesus repeatedly if they're just some small, obscure group? So what I'm presenting to you today, friends, is that, no, they're not a small, obscure group. They're actually, read the New Testament, they're the Herodians. What does that mean? They're Edomites. They're spirit of Herod, spirit of the Antichrist.
Woo! Somebody wrap a mitre around this man and give him tassels. Please throw some fringes up on this guy. Who are they? He might be on the Quadam. I know you're probably listening. He might be on the remix, all white with my fringes on. Huh? He might pop it off. All white with my fringes on. Don't be surprised. Let's do it.
Zionists. It's actually good, right? It's actually good to identify this synagogue that is serving the enemy.
People, time to wake up. You know what I'm saying? So that was a video you can go check out. But understand that we are so-called black people in America, or the people of God, or the children of God, or Israelites, or the Jews that the Bible speaks about. Understand that we are bought with a price. You have to make the decision to want to live for Christ. Understand that he was saying Jesus, okay, don't take that personal, you know what I'm saying? Those Israelites, don't take that personal, you know what I'm saying? We understand that, we know his real name is Yeshua, you know what I'm saying? But understand that he's awakened to the truth. So if you ain't awakened to the truth, it's not important that you worry about your nationality. That's a plus. That's just something to add to it. You know what I'm saying? That's not something that you need to worry about. Something that you need to worry about is accepting Yeshua in your life so that you will be able to receive life. Walking and living by the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High God. That's most important. Knowing your true nationality is just a plus. That's just a plus to the situation. It make you wonder why you going through certain things. You start to understand or get a better understanding of why you going through certain things and why things are the way they are. You know what I'm saying? So, people, wake up. Food for thought.